What would you do if your life savings couldn't buy you a loaf of bread? Imagine waking up one morning with money in your bank account, only to discover by evening it's worthless. This isn't a dystopian novel or a futuristic nightmare. This is history, a time when money, the very tool we depend on for survival, lost all meaning. We're talking about Weimar Germany in the early 1920s. One of the most shocking financial collapses in history. A collapse so severe that people carried cash in wheelbarrows, used bills as wallpaper, and burned banknotes for heat because firewood was more expensive. But here's the mystery. How does a modern nation, one of Europe's most industrially advanced, collapse into such madness? And more importantly, could it happen again today? To understand Weimar's collapse, we need to step back. The year is 1919. Germany has just lost World War I. The Treaty of Versailles has been signed, and with it, one of the most punitive sets of reparations ever demanded of a nation. Germany is forced to pay the Allies 132 billion gold marks, a sum so crushing many historians call it economic strangulation. To meet these impossible demands, Germany faces a choice: raise taxes, cut spending, or print money, and they chose printing. But here's the twist. In the beginning, it didn't look like disaster. Printing money allowed Germany to pay reparations and keep the economy moving. Factories roared back to life. Workers were paid. On the surface, things looked normal. But underneath, a time bomb was ticking. The origins of Weimar hyperinflation weren't just about war debt. It was a combination of politics, psychology, and broken trust. First, the political system. The Weimar Republic was young, fragile, and deeply unpopular. Leaders wanted to avoid raising taxes, fearing backlash from both workers and industrialists. Printing money was politically easier. Second, the psychology of money. At first, people believed marks would retain value, but as prices began creeping up, people started spending faster. Why hold money if it's losing value? Better to exchange it for goods immediately. This velocity of money effect accelerated the spiral. Third, trust. Once broken, almost impossible to restore. Money only works if people believe in it, and by 1922, that belief was evaporating. In 1922, inflation became hyperinflation. Prices doubled every month. By late 1923, they doubled every few days. Imagine this. In January 1923, one US dollar cost 17,000 marks. By November, that same dollar cost 4.2 trillion marks. Workers were paid twice a day because waiting until evening meant their wages were worthless. Housewives rushed to the store the moment wages arrived, knowing bread might be twice the price by sunset. Ordinary life became absurd. A postage stamp cost millions. A loaf of bread cost billions. Children played with stacks of banknotes as toys. And yet, while the currency collapsed, human psychology adapted. People found new ways to survive, bartering goods or using foreign currencies. But this wasn't just absurdity, it was tragedy. Middle-class families who had saved responsibly were wiped out overnight. Pensioners lost everything. Social trust disintegrated. By late 1923, Germany was in chaos. The economy had collapsed, riots broke out, violence spread. Radical ideologies gained power as people lost faith in the system. Hyperinflation didn't just destroy money, it destroyed stability. And in that vacuum, extremism thrives. Historians argue that Weimar's collapse paved the psychological road for Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. Here's the harsh truth. Money is never just money. It's trust. It's stability. It's the glue of society. Break that and the consequences echo far beyond economics. In late 1923, a solution finally emerged. The government introduced a new currency, the Rentenmark, backed not by gold. Germany had none left, but by land and industrial assets. Printing was stopped. Confidence slowly returned. But make no mistake, the scars remained. Generations were traumatized. Trust in money, government, and stability never fully recovered. And less than a decade later, the Great Depression would strike, reopening old wounds and pushing Germany into catastrophe once again. Now, here's the haunting part. Weimar wasn't unique. Zimbabwe in the 2000s, Venezuela in the 2010s, Argentina today. Hyperinflation repeats wherever trust is broken, governments overspend, and money printing replaces discipline. And even in advanced economies, the warning signs flicker. In 2020, the US Federal Reserve created more money in months than in decades. Inflation surged worldwide. While we are nowhere near Weimar levels, the psychological lessons remain. Once people lose faith in money, it unravels fast. Inflation is not just an economic statistic, it's a social earthquake. And history has a nasty habit of rhyming. So, what can we learn from Weimar? 1, wealth is fragile when built only on paper. Assets matter. Land, businesses, skills, and stores of value endure. 2, psychology drives money. When trust breaks, numbers on paper mean nothing. Protecting confidence is as vital as balancing budgets. 3, crises breed extremism. When financial systems collapse, political systems follow. Economics isn't just about money. It's about the survival of democracy and freedom. Weimar Germany wasn't just a collapse of currency. It was a collapse of meaning. A society where people woke up to find that everything they believed about money was an illusion. So here's the question: are we safer today? Or are we repeating patterns, overspending, printing, denying consequences that echo history? History doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. Stay curious, stay prepared. And remember, wealth is psychology, not just currency. If this video opened your eyes, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to understand how fragile money really is. Because the more we learn from history, the better chance we have of not repeating it.